Lincolnshire, a place that you may have heard of, known for its sausages and nobody living there. Pick a car up, of course, you can see transit faces in service, and it's a very long way off. And when I come to my truck this morning, it didn't start. I have no tea, so I'm very thirsty already, but I do have sandwiches. I made some sandwiches. I don't mind sandwiches today. Egg mayonnaise, of course, one of my favourites. This one, slightly different, used quite a bit more mustard. In fact, it's just on the tipping point of too much mustard. So that's about the right amount. Dijon. So far, I've only driven 23 miles, which is less than a tenth of the total distance. I'm already feeling whatever that is. The rain doesn't help, and neither does the wind. It's okay when you're using somebody else's truck, but this is my diesel, and the wind makes you use more fuel. Plus, there's the constant concern of something going wrong with the truck. When I was driving somebody else's truck with a big cable, the prospect of it breaking down didn't really bother me, because it wasn't mine. And after all, if you have a breakdown and you just sat waiting in your cab, it's just more like having a day off. Nottinghamshire. Yes, Robin Hood country. Robin Hood, the man who stole from the rich to give to the poor. The inspiration behind the benefit system, except that's kind of gone the other way around, isn't it? Now I haven't come all the way to Lincolnshire for no reason. Just taking the opportunity to just check my tyres, make sure that none of them are too squashy before going on the motorway, and I might as well show you the car while I'm at it. Look at that. It's not even a Rover. It's a Toyota. What do I do with a Toyota Corolla in the back? What's going on? Are you confused? You might be confused. Really cool place, actually. Boston in Lincolnshire. It kind of reminds me of like the set of an American road movie. All these old garages knocking about everywhere, and just the expanses of flat bits and trees and things. Yeah, maybe they call this the America's part of Britain. I don't think they do. I would have heard of that. Thank you. As I am on my way back, I can now treat myself to some more egg mayonnaise sandwiches. Egg mayonnaise. Look! That was simply wonderful, that sandwich. Oh yes. So, 3 eggs and 2, amongst other things of course, 2 heaped spoonfuls of Dijon mustard. Just on the brink of being too much, but it has to be, because otherwise it's on the brink of not being enough. I just got road raged at a little bit then, because I got in the wrong lane at the roundabout. My mistake. Mistakes happen, I've never been here before. And there was room for me to pull over. The guy behind me, of course, there was no need for him to be so angry, beeping his horn and flashing his lights. Where does that get you? Nowhere. He's probably calmed down a bit now. It would be quite funny though to face up to someone like that and say, sorry, yeah, I'm sorry about that, my fault. Yep, and then once everything's all nice and happy between the two people, then you give it some of that. I wouldn't really do that. I just find the idea of it funny. I've just seen a hearse on the back of one of these beaver tail transits. It was really funny. It was huge. It was hanging off the back such a long way, and it was all pressed down, looked way overweight. And I thought, that's really embarrassing, isn't it? Imagine breaking down on the way to your own funeral. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. When there's a car on the back of the truck, it does feel nicer to drive. Yeah. And I've just said that again, because what I've also noticed is I tend to go a bit more quickly when there's a car on the back. I have to watch my speed. I have to watch don't go over 60. You go over 60, you start using loads of fuel up. But isn't that strange? You go faster with a car on it. And maybe it's because it's more comfortable, it's less jarring. Make sure to go faster. Jesus Christ! Came to the world to save the sinners. That's not me making fun. I just read it on the back of a truck there. Incidentally, I am non-religious and non-judgmental. Weather really is astonishing. It's wet, cold and windy. It's utterly miserable. I like it. Normally old transit face would pull up this hill even with a 75 on the back quite easy. And now it's struggling because of the amount of wind. It's almost like it's broken. You can tell I'm back in Rochdale because of the traffic lights. I know that they have traffic lights in other towns, I've seen them. You know, it's not just Rochdale. But I think the difference is in Rochdale we have traffic lights where there once was roundabouts that did a perfectly good job. And so whether they have a surplus of money at the end of every year and the council needs to spend it to make sure they get the same amount next year, I don't know, but it's completely pointless, and all it does is waste my time and everybody else's time and makes people frustrated and makes people run red lights, which is something that happens a lot. And it's time that it stopped. Well, that should be the video over. The end of all this confusion. But it's not, because I'm going to tag on the bits from yesterday. Why not? Well, I'm sorry people, but today is a transit day, which is suitable because it's horrible. But I have to have this trucky thing working today because I've got a job to do with it tomorrow. And there's somebody who really wants my truck to be working tomorrow, I can tell you. So it is time to remove the battery again, because that one is a little bit on the dead side, and then put another one in. And there is the battery. And this battery is quite a bit smaller, but it's the only one I have that I think might work. That one's too big, that one's too dead, as is the one underneath. But whatever the case, I shall take the big battery with me when I go on my trip tomorrow, and the big jump leads, just in case. Right, so I'm going to get this battery out first. Yep, this one is now next to useless. That one couldn't start a fight in a kebab shop with a drunken football hooligan at 3 o'clock in the morning. This one should be able to do, although as you can see it is a couple of inches shorter. 2 inches though, that's no big deal, not when you talk about something that's quite big to start with. In. If this doesn't start, I will be quite surprised, to be honest. That should be okay. Smaller battery, more power. So the only concern really is if I come to this in the morning and it froze overnight and the battery's struggling again. But, you know, it should be okay, shouldn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to just take the chance. As Transit Face is now working, I can feel happy and relaxed and make my plans for tomorrow. I almost feel like treating it to a wash, being gentle and nice to it. But I'm not going to wash it. One reason is that it's cold, and the other is that I can't be bothered. Yeah, that stinks.